Princess Anne and Prince Charles are said to have had a tight bond growing up, due to their parents often being away on royal tours and engagements. Although there is just a 2-year age gap between them, one body language expert has claimed they show strong contrasts. The pair are rarely seen together, but when they are, body language expert Judy James explained that the siblings are very different from one another. She told Express.co.uk, "It would be unusual to see siblings, apart from twins, to use mirrored body language rituals and signals, but when Charles and Anne were children some very strong contrasts were already visible, suggesting two very different personalities." Anne looked confident, adventurous and optimistic and used positioning and engaged, involved rituals to suggest she was at the heart of the family. When she did begin to appear in public by herself, her strongest non-verbal bonds were with her father, who appeared present in many of her shots. Charles, though, had a tendency to sit on the peripherals of the family poses, displaying body language that picked him out as a bit of an outsider. His eye expression was often dreamy and reflective, and he was rarely seen with a congruent, convincing smile. His body language suggested he found life as complex and difficult as Anne found it easy. The last time the duo were seen standing next to one another was for Prince Philip's funeral back in April. Both Anne and Charles will also often wear military uniforms. This is because the Princess Royal is an honorary Rear Admiral while Prince Charles served in the Navy. However, Judy explained that the siblings are still very different from one another, even though there may be some similarities. She said, "Many years later there are still enough residue signs to suggest very little has changed. Since he married Camilla and she was integrated into the royal firm, Charles does look more relaxed about life in general and has even begun to showboat again on his royal visits, but he still wears the steepled, puckered brows that give his eye expression such a look of self-pity and bewilderment, as though he still finds the world a puzzling and worrying place. He looks friendly, but he also looks like a man who loves solitude and who is never happiest than when he is wandering round his gardens in his slightly mystical-looking threadbare long coat." Anne, on the other hand, has body language signals that suggest a more stoic and less analytical view of life. Unlike Charles's puckered brows, hers are often pulled into a frown, but with one brow slightly raised to suggest good spirits or good humor. Charles exhibits underlying anxieties by his almost constant self-touch and checking rituals, like his cuff fiddle and pocket pat. Anne, on the other hand, appears to have no anxiety or self-comfort rituals, suggesting high levels of inner confidence and fearlessness. Judy went on to explain how these differences could have been alienating, and probably were. She added, "There were few if any poses of the brother and sister looking close or sharing any fun over the years, and these contrasting traits could have created a lack of empathy between them. Recently though, age and circumstances do appear to have led to more signals of closeness or even rapport between them." With the death of their father and the changes in the top tier of royals, both Charles and Anne have stepped up to support their mother and fill the gaps in the firm. Shared goals and responsibilities might have turned them into a bit of a team at last.